Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the update preview stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Misty. Say hi, guys.
Hey everyone.
So, what do we have going on this week? Well, we're at what is it? It's about the midway point for development for the month. It's a little past the actual midpoint of the month, but yeah, we're halfway through development for the month, and we're over here on the staging branch showing off a couple new things. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask Misty underscore that's me in chat. We'll get to as many questions as we have the opportunity to. And then also, people might be wondering when's Whips and what's going on with Whips. Well, for Rustafied servers, the servers wiping today are the weekly and bi weekly Thursday wipe servers. So it's your mains, mediums, trios, small, barons, Zen labs, and the like. And those wipe at regular scheduled time for the region, which is 3 p.m. local time for each region. So that means EU wiped 3 hours ago, AU, SEA wiped like 12, 13 hours ago. And then we've got US servers wiping in just 2 hours at 3 p.m. EST. These are map wipes only because we are mid month. And yeah, that's what we got going on with whips. So let's get into it. What's going on over here on the staging branch? Well, I am excited to say we've got a new building skin to preview to you guys. You might have seen last week there was the Brutalist skin that is on staging, and that is still here, but we're able to preview actually the new Frontier building skin, which is going to be a wood tier from the looks of it. I mean, look at it. It's a lot of wood. So it looks like this is going to be the first wood building skin that we have. Now, I do want to say this isn't available for everyone on staging. It's not technically on staging for players yet. We were able to get a preview of it up and running, but it's not available for just anybody to go look at. So that's also telling me that it's probably not coming next month. I think for the October update, October 5th, 2 weeks from today, I think realistically we're going to be seeing the Brutalist skin, which is that armored tier skin, which we showed off last week. It's very concrete centric. I checked earlier this week. I didn't see any changes to the visuals of it yet. I do think it's very possible we might see a iteration on the visuals of that Brutalist skin before it goes live. But my hunch is that we're going to see the Brutalist skin go live on the update and force wipe October 5th. And then, if anything, maybe this Frontier building skin will come in maybe November. And we've got two buildings of it right here. You can see we got one like kind of normal base, and then there's kind of like this other prefab over here that shows a couple more elements. So you can get a sense of what it is all about. You can see it's still like the roof stuff isn't finalized. This is definitely a work in progress. But you can get a sense of the overall vibe of it, what it's going to look inside, what it's going to look like outside, the stairs, all that good stuff. And once again, this is the Frontier building skin. I do think, like every other building skin DLC, this is going to be a DLC going live on the item store when it does go live. And then it's just going to operate just as the other building skins do. So once you purchase it, then you'll just, when you're upgrading on your hammer, be able to select the building skin with Q or E. And once again, we can't show that off now. This is just a rough preview we are able to come up with of this Frontier skin. It is not technically live on staging. The Brutalist skin, however, is, and I believe you have access to that if you have that little book of mistakes or whatever that is in your Steam inventory. Not many people have that. That was handed out like 6 or 7 years ago, just one day if you happen to join staging on a random day that got given out. So it is kind of a rare item that's not tradable or anything. I wish it was. I have two of them. I'd sell the fuck out of my one, and anyway, it's fine. But yeah, Brutalist is probably coming out for the October 5th update, 2 weeks from today. Now we also have another preview of another skin, and this is related to the upcoming Xmas event from what we can see. And this is the gingerbread skin. This is another building skin. No word on what tier this is going to be. Maybe it'll be wood, maybe it'll be stone. maybe it'll be something else. I'm not really sure what the gingerbread is closest to as far as building tiers are concerned. But it is a new building tier as well, which we're able to preview. And you can see there's some nice like frosting bits on the sides of various pieces, and the outlines of the windows and everything are kind of frosted. And then it just looks like, some good old fashioned gingerbread. And inside, it's pretty cool too. The spiral staircases have like a candy cane element for the middle of them, and the stairs are like chocolate, and it's got some siding that looks like chocolate bars and stuff. And it says Rustles, is that what that says?
I
I don't
think it
know.
says Rusties, yeah.
Rusties, yeah, so that's like the, I guess, de facto Rust candy brand now for Christmas coming up. But this is just another preview. Now, this is not going to be in the game all the time. This has already been confirmed by some of the devs on Twitter that this is just going to be a seasonal item available for people during the Rust Xmas event, which historically speaking occurs the last 2 weeks or so of the year. So in December, around December like 14th ish, they'll probably release an update with a bunch of Christmas events like the Santa sleigh instead of the airdrop, and the presents spawning around with the jingle bells. And it looks like new this year as well, there'll be this option to build gingerbread houses during the duration of that Christmas event. So yeah, just a little preview of some new building skins over here. Now, in other development news, they are moving forward on a couple various other things. One that I'm very interested and excited to see is the rail network link. Based on commits, this looks like it's going to be a linkage between the underground and above ground rail networks. It looks like there's going to be one of these at the train station monument, and then it looks like maybe there'll be some other ones, like maybe one or two, just very variously around the map. And they're going to kind of go both ways, so to speak, where if you have a train on the upper level, it looks like you'll be able to go down and take it underground. And if you've got like a work cart or something underground, it looks like you'll be able to utilize these network links to go above ground as well. So that should add some more dynamicism and interestingness to the whole rail networks of the game. And this, we're seeing a good amount of commits on this, on the various like rail link locations and things like that. So it's still on a separate branch, no visuals yet. But based on commits, we can say with a pretty high level of confidence that this will be a link between the underground and above ground. And given the velocity of commits, I'd say it's not totally unfeasible to think that we might see this come in for the October 5th update in 2 weeks. But for that to happen, we'd probably want to see this network link branch get merged into staging in the next probably week. So we're going to keep an eye on that. If it's merged in next week, then we'll say, yeah, it's coming in October. If not, probably it will wait another month till November to come in, maybe even more. Nothing's confirmed yet. This stuff really is just ready when it's ready, so to speak. Now, also speaking of bases and different decor of that, there is another DLC being worked on, which is called the Base Decor DLC. Now, no visuals on this and no real specifics on this yet because the commits aren't really alluding to various like specific items or anything. But I do think about there are these art props that they've been working on, and in the development of our Charitable Rust map, actually, which by the way, Charitable Rust next month, October 14th and 15th, we've got a trailer we'll show in a little bit, but really excited about that. But when working on the custom map that we're doing for that, one of the map makers showed a bunch of the art props that are actually in the staging branch, but just not visible on any map or at any monument yet, but they can be spawned, they can be generated in the game. And I'm wondering, and it was like an old TV, there were some tools, there were some actual like smoke detectors and stuff. There was like a radio, I believe. There were a bunch of different various things for just random props that would go around a base. And I wonder if the base decor DLC is going to include some of those or if it's going to be a completely different thing. Maybe it'll be just a bunch of like new types of pictures or things you can hang on the wall. Maybe it'll be more chairs and tables that people can sit on or rugs, things like that. Nevertheless, the DLC is in the works. No visuals, no specifics yet, though. So I don't think this is going to be coming in October. I think, in all likelihood, once again, that Brutalist armored tier building skin will be the DLC going live in October. And maybe we'll see this base decor stuff in one of the following months. Now, also over on the staging branch, they are working on the homing missile launcher aim down sight functionality, or ADS as it's known. As you probably know, if you've played with the homing missile launcher since it went live earlier this month, that you don't really aim down the sight like you do most every other weapon. And that is because that aim down sight functionality isn't going to be just the standard run of the mill aim down sight, like just moving the positioning of the weapon to more closely match your eye line. Instead, it looks like this is going to have a flip out digital screen that will actually become a full screen UI when you aim down the sight. And it, based on commits, looks like it's going to be similar to the gunner view in the attack helicopter. So there's actually going to be a digital overlay for aiming down the sight. And that will be where the targeting system and everything like that of the homing missile launcher starts taking place. So I imagine with this, along with the update to the UI and the various visual shifts that you'll see, I imagine it will maybe shift a little bit how you actually home in on and lock on to various different air vehicles while utilizing this homing missile launcher. So we'll keep an eye on that, still on a separate branch, so no visuals, but based on the commits, it does look like this is going to be a separate UI that's probably similar to the gunner UI of the attack helicopter. Now, also, they're working on some Halloween content. As you probably know, next month is the spookiest month of the year. And like previous years, we do expect a Halloween event to take place sometime between mid month running towards and through the end of the month. Previous years, we've seen the Frankenstein's monsters, we've seen the scarecrows roaming around the map. We've seen different, there's the trick or treat event that goes off once every in-game day, and you go around and pick up candy, and the top people who get candy get different, prizes. And then you can, it's kind of similar to the presents of the Xmas event, but it's candy bags, if I remember correctly. And then you can open the bag and get various different things. So it's a Halloween event that we do expect to take place. We're not sure the specifics of what it will include, but based on commits, we saw them not only fixing up some things with the previous ghost costume. So it does look like that ghost costume will make a comeback. And really, they were fixing like how the physics of the costume itself worked, especially with the new parachutes, because I think it was getting some janky reactions with the parachute. So they fixed that. And then also they're working on a Dragula cape. Dragula, it's spelled Dragula, but Dracula is how I always thought I pronounced it. Anyway, you know that guy with the teeth. You're going to have a cape for him, basically. That looks like there's going to be a Dracula outfit as well for the Halloween content. So no visuals as well. Not many visuals going on except for these new, the preview of the new building materials. But yeah, it's going to be a cool Halloween content with some new, fresh Halloween content coming in, and expect that sometime next month. Now, also, we've got some checks to make sure the rib never drifts on the cargo ship. And this was with regards to the boat drift functionality that also went live earlier this month. And what was happening is sometimes the rib, if it was drifting back and it got caught on the cargo ship, it would just kind of, I think, get caught or something like that. Some unintended reactions. And they're just putting some checks in place to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. There are also, with the weapon racks, we've seen a number of tweaks and little optimizations to the weapon racks. But on top of that, we're seeing the addition of support for instruments. So if you have the instrument DLC, then you'll soon be able to put your instruments on the weapon rack as well. They're also doing an optimization pass on traps. So various different traps in the game might behave better, the pressure traps and maybe even the bear traps we'll see, but it's just an optimization pass on that and some improvements. Still on a separate branch, so nothing to really test as of this moment. They did do some improvements to the DOF system. This isn't going to be important for most players because most players don't play with like depth of field on, and that's what DOF stands for, by the way, depth of field. But for me over here, I like to take pictures every week for the article, and I often do use depth of field to make sure I can focus in and make the focal point of the picture in focus and then have some nice bokeh effect, some nice blurring effect on the various surroundings. And this was merged in, and it does look like the blurring effect is a little smoother. It could just be in my mind. It's kind of hard to tell, and I didn't bother doing like a before after thing, but it does look like there are some improvements to the DOF system. So that's cool. They're also, with regards to parachutes, doing just some other checks on, especially when it deploys, like that it deploys smoothly, that if you jump out of the scrappy and deploy too soon, that the scrappy doesn't actually kill the parachute and then you fall to your death, things like that. They're just basically cleaning up a bunch of things with regards to the parachutes and specifically the deploying of them. And then also with regards to some things with landing and collision and stuff like that. So that's all to say, come the October 5th update, things with parachutes will probably be a bit smoother and less like kind of unforeseen things happening. And then finally, they regressed the minicopter push behavior. So the minicopter push behavior did change a little bit with the forced wipe beginning of the month, and it didn't have the intended reaction or change that they wanted. So they basically just pulled that back and reverted that this week. That's not live in the game, as with like any of this stuff. So that'll likely go live in 2 weeks with the October 5th update. And then, yeah, that's about it with what's going on in development. We also, as I mentioned before, have Charitable Rust coming up in just a couple weeks. And Charitable Rust is our yearly charity event. We've run it for 8 years previously. This is going to be the ninth year in a row we've run it. Over the first 8 years, we raised over $1 million for various charities. And I'm so thrilled and proud of the Rust community on the generosity and what we've created for people in need all around the world throughout the years. And this year, I want to be bigger and better than ever before. I want to raise more funds than ever before. And I'm so happy to be supporting Charity Water this year for the second time. We supported them once in 2018. And back then, we raised like $62,000, and it was enough to provide thousands of people fresh water around the world and in different communities that previously didn't have access to it. And what's great about Charity Water is literally all the funds that we raise go towards these projects around the world. There isn't like 80% that goes to that and then 20% goes to pay people in New York City to like get a new Lamborghini or something. They actually have like this group of angel investors who, through their funds, cover all the operating expenses of the organization, such that it allows for campaigns like ours to have 100% of all the funds raised go directly to these new water initiatives. And it's not like the water initiative is, oh, let's drop a crate of Poland Spring on these poor fucks over here. No, they actually go in, they work with the community, they dig wells, they add technology to the things that they create, such that it allows them to monitor the functionality of this stuff and basically be able to see if something's wrong with like a well or a filter around the world before even the people on the ground right there even necessarily know that something's wrong. So they create jobs, they create sustainability, and they really enable these communities to start growing and thriving, not just once, but long term through the addition of fresh water. So this is people who previously had to walk like 10 miles a day just to get fresh water. Now will have it there local to themselves so that they can then focus on like creating value in the community, creating jobs, all that stuff. So it's such a cool organization, charitywater.org, if you're interested in learning more specifics about it. But that is who we are supporting this year. And I'm proud to be supporting them for the second time. And what we're doing with Charitable Rust this year is we're actually doing something different. It's There's going to be some same, but also different. And what that's going to look like is we've got a custom map, Synecdoche. If you have played it on Zen Labs, it's a really awesome custom map made by my guy BXR Flip, and he's worked on it for a long time and really got it nice and balanced. So it's a really cool custom map experience. We're going to be running for the weekend of that Saturday and Sunday a 2x vanilla wipe server. So everyone can actually come on and play an accelerated gameplay wipe, all for charity. And what's also cool is we've got these floating islands that are going to be up there that will have other PvE related events where you can do parkour and get prizes. There's going to be talent shows throughout the day with prizes. And there's also going to be an art contest throughout the day. And the talent show we did last year, the parkour we've had in previous years, and the art contest we've done for years now. And so we're doing all that still, all in the actual event server, while people can play the game underneath them. So it's going to be really cool. I'm excited about that. Stay tuned for some more information on it. But we do have, we want to show the trailer at the end of the stream. Let's just do that.
Yeah, up to you entirely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's get into some questions. And then there's not a ton to show off today. So it might, dare I say, it might be a shorter stream. I always say that and then we end up going over. So let me just shut my face and say, Miss D, we got any questions?
Not a lot, so you might be right this time. But let's start with when is whip and is it a blueprint wipe today?
So WIP is at the regular scheduled time for, and I'm speaking only for Rustafied servers. We wipe at 3 p.m. local time for the region, and each region has a different, of course, local time. So that means 2 hours and 21 minutes ago is when EU servers wiped. And then in like an hour and a half at 3 p.m. Eastern is when the US servers wipe. And then the AU and SEA servers wiped like 11, 12, 13 hours ago because they of course live in the future. As far as wipes go, it's map wipes only today. No blueprint wipes because we are mid-month. Generally speaking, the Rustified servers wipe blueprints with the forced wipe at the first Thursday of every month. The exception to this is our medium 3 servers, both in US and EU. And then yeah, the servers wiping today are the weekly and bi-weekly Thursday wipe servers. So that's mains, mediums, trios, small, Baron, Zen Labs, and the like.
Let me see. Next one. What did you say about Halloween event? When is that starting?
That's going to be mid to end of October. I feel like it might be, yeah, I feel like it's probably going to be the week after Charitable Rust. So after the 14th. Let's see what date that is. That would be probably the 19th is when I would guess the Halloween event would go live. It might go live the 12th, but I don't think so. I think it will probably go live the 19th and then run until the 2nd of November, if it's similar to what we've seen previous years.
Do you know if there's a preview available for this week's confirmed skins?
No, we don't have previews of the skins that I know of. I don't know if German Guy maybe sometimes does that before they go out. So I would check out German Guy's channel, that German Guy, all one word, on YouTube and on Twitter. He manages the skins and he often does content around the skins, but uh, I'm not sure. And let's see, has the item store been updated yet? No, we still got the Pug Rock, which is cool. But I imagine we should see that go live, the updated skins go live sometime in the next couple hours.
Is there any news to the server transfer?
The server transfer, refresh my memory. What the hell is that about?
Probably
Transfer from
Nexus.
server to server?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nexus stuff.
Nexus.
Yeah.
Yes, Nexus body of work, server to server transfer stuff. Yeah, that is technically kind of in the game now, but it's not in the background of the game, I'll say, in the underlying code of the game. But Facepunch has not released it yet. Based on what we've heard, Facepunch is going to do the first iteration of those servers, and it looks like it's going to be separate version of the server list. Like you've got official, community, and modded. It looks like there's going to be Nexus or Nexuses, that will be servers that are linked together, but haven't really heard much about it. I think there might have been a couple commits in the past couple weeks. There are always hidden commits that could be really delving deep into it, but we just can't see that. But there's no word on when we are going to actually have those server to server transfer servers up. So maybe next month, maybe not. It's really hard to say at this point because the functionality and this is of course worked into all the clan system stuff and the clan tables. All this stuff is kind of in its at least rudimentary work in progress form in the underlying version of the game. It's just not been really released yet by Facepunch, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. I haven't heard anything specific.
What do you think of Rust 2 because of the recent Unity engine policies?
Well, I think that's going to be interesting. I have read Gary's post a couple times, Gary's blog. I believe the title was Unity Can Get Fucked, very aptly titled. And I did read it a couple times to try to read between the lines, so to speak. And what my main takeaway from that is that, well, as he clearly said, that you don't have to read between the lines on this one. He said, needless to say, Rust 2 will not be developed in Unity. And before that, he said we should have really created our own engine. And if you look at Sandbox, and what Sandbox is, it's running on Source 2, but it is kind of its own game development engine of sorts, and it's going to enable different developers to create games within Sandbox and then actually release those games on Steam. So that makes me really think, as I think about it, that Rust 2 is going to be developed probably on top of Sandbox. Now, when are we going to see that happen? Well, I don't think anytime soon. And I say that for a couple reasons. One, Sandbox, they just kind of stopped giving out developer invites to that because the long and short, from my understanding of it, is they're retooling some stuff and they're going back in and kind of fixing some underlying things, retooling the system because, as it was put, this is going to be a multi decade project and they want to really do it right. So, with that in mind, I don't think development on Rust 2 is going to start like ASAP because I don't think that Sandbox, the underlying engine that will probably run it, is at a point where it's ready to start developing a game of that magnitude. So I imagine we're going to continue to see forward development on the normal version of Rust in Unity. They just upgrade the version of Unity. It was running a version from 2019. Now it's running a 2021 version of Unity, and and yeah, I think 2021. I always get confused on these numbers, but basically an updated version of Unity, which is cool. It looks like there are less PhysX crashes and less AI related crashes. So if you're upset at servers crashing, which has been a problem for years now, and there's nothing server owners can do, by the way, when a server crashes, it's not because we're running it on a gerbil powered, you know, compact Presario in my parents' basement, like some people say. No, it's actually just because it's a built-in issue with the underlying engine of the game, Unity. But they did update Unity. I think we're going to see continued development, forward development of this version of the game in Unity. I think that's going to continue to take place for the near future because the other kind of unsaid here is this is Facepunch's main source of revenue, I believe, at the moment is Rust and the skin sales and the DLC sales and the new game sales. And I don't think that they're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, and just tank their main source of revenue just because of this Unity fuckery, of which it is. I mean, it might be warranted because Unity really did screw the pooch on this one, and they are saying, "Hey, we hear you," and they're doing PR fire fighting and all this stuff, but really they lost so much trust in the community, and it had already been lost. I mean, the whole company is full of shit. And if you look into the CEO and you look into they bought out or they had this acquisition with this other company the other year that is just focused on monetization in games. It's like the whole thing is a bunch of crooks, basically, from what I can see. And I think they have coming what they've got coming to them. You know, they asked for it basically. They should have known better really here. But I don't think that's going to be such a catalyst that we stop seeing forward development on this version of the game. I think we'll continue to see forward development of this version of the game. And then maybe in the next year or so, we'll see Rust 2 start getting developed, probably on Sandbox. And then it'll probably be a transition like back in the day when Legacy was the main thing that people were playing. And then we had experimental. And at a certain point, the kind of the tide shifted of people playing more legacy originally, and then more and more people switched to experimental, and then gradually they launched the new version of Rust. They took it out of alpha and they nixed legacy. And I could see something kind of similar happen, although I don't think they're necessarily going to nix this version of the game, because it's not like they're just coding a new version of the game. This is actually a sequel to the game. So I imagine this version will be around for years and years to come, unlike legacy. But I don't think we're going to be seeing, and everyone's going to be playing Rust 2 next year. I think that's a multi-year process that might not even get like started for another couple years potentially.
I saw someone in chat saying, imagine Rust on Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, I mean that would be interesting, but I don't think that's what we're going to see. I have the strong sense, and if you look at Gary's blog post, he did say, this is our fault. We chose Unity. We should have known better, and what we should have done is develop our own engine. And then if you zoom out a second and look at Sandbox, I mean, I could be wrong here, but that looks to me like basically a game development engine. So, I mean, it would just make sense that they develop on that.
And someone else did just ask if they confirmed which engine they were going to use, but nah.
No, they haven't confirmed. Basically, this was the first even mention of Rust 2. We didn't even know there was going to be a sequel to the game. It had never been discussed before. People of course had like hypothesized, but nothing ever from the devs. And it's not like Gary went and announced, "Hey, we're going to do Rust 2." He just casually dropped it on like the last sentence of his blog. Like, one thing's for sure, Rust 2 won't be developed on Unity engine. And boom, that's it. Rust 2 confirmed. But that was literally the first and only official word about Rust 2 that I've seen so far.
Is there any news about the Brutalist building skin?
Yeah, the Brula skin, it is still looking like it was looking last week. So I really should have built another base on this server so we could show it off again. But it's very concrete centric, so to speak. And based on my testing yesterday on staging, it doesn't look like there's any iteration of the art for it, of the visuals for it as of yet. But that being said, I do think, given its status on staging, it does line up and would make sense that we'll see that DLC go live for the October 5th update in 2 weeks. So I think that's basically what you can kind of count on, is that's an armored tier building skin, the first of its kind, and most likely it'll be live with the forced wipe October 5th and update in the form of a DLC, just like the other previous building skins we've seen.
During the charity event with the art contest, will we be able to buy the top 5 or so winning submissions? Any plans to put them on t-shirts?
Oh, that's an interesting idea. No, we hadn't planned that. I'm not sure if we'll be able to logistically pull that off this year, but that would be a really interesting thing and a great way on the tail end of the event to continue to raise funds for it. So I'm going to make a note of that because I do love that idea. Eh,
Could
yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say you could also use like from past years and maybe use them for charity. So whatever you earn on those go to charity as well.
Yeah, potentially. So we could definitely see. We would have to get the permission of the previous artists and all that stuff, but would be potentially doable. But I'm interested in that idea. So thank you for that. And I wouldn't count on it this year, but I will definitely take it into consideration and explore the possibility and logistics of it.
Let's do a recap. I don't think we have any more questions for now.
All right, cool. Well, a little recapity cap here. We are on the staging branch and we've got two new building skins to kind of show off. I do want to note these are not live on staging, so to speak. So even if you've got the book of mistakes or whatever it is, uh, you in game joining staging will not yet be able to test these out, but we are able to give you a little preview of them. First and foremost, we've got the Frontier building skin. This is going to be a wood base. I mean, I'm assuming that nothing's been officially, but look at it. It's got to be a wood tier building skin. And you can see it's like wood planks. It's like a little throwback, I feel like, to the Legacy Rust a bit. And it's got a nice look and feel, a nice vibe to it. Very organic, very kind of rustic, so to speak, and it's looking good. So that's the Frontier building skin. I don't think this is going to go live for the October 5th update. I think that most likely we're going to see the Brutalist skin, which is the armored tier building skin, go live for the October 5th update. And then maybe in November, December, we'll see the Frontier skin go live. And that'll be the first wood tier building skin of its kind. Now, on top of that, we also have a preview of the gingerbread building skin. Now, this is not going to be like a DLC like the other building skins. This is going to be part of the Xmas event. Based on what I'm hearing from the devs and seeing on Twitter, it looks like this will be something that during the Christmas event, everyone can use this building skin, but it will only be a part of the event during the Xmas event. So you're not going to be having gingerbread houses in June, so to speak. This will be a gingerbread based thing that is just for the Christmas event, and you can see it's cool. It's got some frosting kind of features. It's got some dripping frosting. It's got like chocolate stairs and some wainscoting of chocolate bars, so to speak, and everything. So it's a nice looking gingerbread festive kind of building skin. And on top of that, in development, we've got work on the rail network links. This is based on commits. It looks to be a linkage of the underground and above ground rail networks. And that will be cool because if you got a work card underground, you'll be able to take one of these links and get above ground, and vice versa. If you got a train up above ground, you could go underground with the train. It looks like there'll be one link at the train monument and then another one or two around the map. And yeah, we'll keep you posted on that. Still on a separate branch, so no visuals yet, but just picture kind of a tunnel going down at a semi-steep angle and then linking with the underground tunnels. That's, I believe, what it's going to be. There's also work on another DLC, the base decor DLC, still on a separate branch. No word from the devs exactly what this is going to entail, and no visuals yet, but based on what we're seeing, it's probably going to be some decorations that you can put around your base. There is the art props branch that has been being worked on and is kind of in the game, but none of the actual art props are spawning anywhere. So you wouldn't have seen them around, but we did in Rust Edit, we were able to look at some of them, and there's like an old TV and some old radio and some smoke detectors and I think like a sink or something. I'm not sure. There's a bunch of just like random decoration stuff or like base stuff that could be a part of it. I'm not really sure. Or it'll just be like some more shit to hang around your base and make it look nice. So we'll let you know as we know more information about that. Also, they're working on the aim down sight functionality, the ADS functionality for the homing missile launcher. As you probably know, if you've played with this new homing missile launcher, it doesn't have any aim down sight at the moment. You just kind of point it and listen for when you're locked on and then fire. Based on commits, this is going to be replaced with a kind of fold out digital screen that will then take over your screen with a new UI that looks like it's going to be similar to the gunner UI on the attack helicopter. And that will have the targeting system and the aiming and everything like that built into that. So they're working on that. Not sure when that will come, but it definitely looks like it could be coming in October sometime. Also, speaking of October, that is when we're going to see the Halloween event go live as well. Probably going to be the like 19th of October. So for the last 2 weeks of October, we'll probably see the Halloween event go live. We've seen this Halloween event previous years, and it looks like this year will probably include some stuff that we've seen previously, maybe the scarecrows and stuff like that wandering around the map, maybe the Frankenstein's monsters as well. And on top of that, we're seeing a new costume being worked on, the Dracula cape. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. No visuals. On top of that, they're doing some more checks for specifically the rib when it's floating back to shore, doing that boat drift stuff that doesn't get caught on cargo ship. They're adding support for weapon racks to support instruments. If you got that instruments DLC, you'll be able to hang your trumpet and your guitar on the weapon rack soon. They're also doing an optimization pass on traps, like the pressure pad and various other things like that. They improved some stuff with the DOF, the depth of field system. Not something that's really going to impact a player in the game because I don't think anyone plays with depth of field, but it is cool for content creators and taking screenshots and stuff like that. It looks like the blur and the bokeh, so to speak, is just maybe a little bit cleaner now, and that may be in my head, to be honest with you. It's hard to like compare one blur to another blur, but I did look at it taking screenshots this week on stage and I was like, oh, I think that looks better. So maybe it does, or I'm just making shit up. We'll see. Either way, they're also doing better checks on the parachutes, specifically when you're deploying a parachute, such that the scrap helicopter doesn't hit it and then kill the parachute and things like that. Also cleaning up some instances where when you're landing, if it hits things, the different collisions and stuff, just making the overall behavior of parachutes more advantageous to players. And then finally, they changed something this month with when they launched the attack helicopter. They changed a push behavior of the mini copters, and that didn't end up being the functionality they wanted. So they did regress back to the previous version, and that will go live probably with the October update. And that's what we got going on in Rust development this month. It is a slower month for Rust. I will say that. Generally speaking, September is the slowest month for Rust, both in players and sometimes in development. And it looks like development is falling into that category this month as well. So, not a whole ton to show off, but we'll see. We got 2 weeks still until the October 5th update. So, we'll keep you posted as always. We are here, same time, same place. Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, and also rustified.com every week, first thing Thursday at midnight Eastern. The article goes live, which summarizes in text and pictures everything going on in development. And you can also follow us, Rustified, on X. And we post different things throughout the week as shit hits staging. But I do want to take a moment and thank everyone for your support. A lot of people think we're developers of the game or we're on the Facepunch payroll to do this. And in fact, neither of those is the case. We are just an independent organization who loves reporting on development of the game and running the best servers that we can. And the only way that we can really do that week after week, month after month, is through the support of the community. So I do just want to take this opportunity and say thank you to everyone who watches each week, to people who subscribe on Twitch or give us bits, and especially to our wonderful, beautiful VIP customers. Thank you so much for your loyalty. Thank you so much for your support. And yeah, without all you guys and all that support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here. So thank you from really the bottom of my heart. And, with that also, I will say again, our charity event, which has raised over $1 million over the past 8 years through and for various different charities. We've got that charity event coming out. It is October 14th and 15th this year. We're doing some awesome events. It's going to be a 2x accelerated vanilla gameplay server with some floating islands with, art contest, parkour, and talent show stuff going on, all with some prizes associated. And then we've got the guys at Nexus and Fancy Orb are doing some events on the Saturday and Sunday as well. We got Rustaholics is doing a build contest as well with some prizes associated with that. And it looks like Rust Reborn is also going to do a Bed Wars thing, I think, on Sunday. So we got some other orgs doing different events as well. We're going to be streaming. There's going to be Twitch drops with exclusive drops for the charity. And there's also going to be 4 skins on the item store, the proceeds of which all go towards this amazing cause. And also, I just do want to take a moment to thank all the skin creators, all the talented people who create skins, and especially the ones that entered the skin contest for Charitable Rust. We did just with Face Punch yesterday review a number of the skins, and we're finalizing them this week. And we will be announcing the winners of that skin contest by the end of the month. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your creativity and everything like that. And we'll be announcing the winners by the end of the month and all that good stuff. So, yeah, any other questions before we play this Charitable Rust trailer and wind this puppy down?
Only one just asking how the anti-cheat is going, the one that Rustafied is doing.
Yes, we are iterating on that every week. We're cranking up the knobs and dials to tune it in and hone it in to have us be able to be alerted of and get rid of the hackers in our servers specifically, like before they cause issues. I'm happy to say that is moving along nicely. We've turned just some more checks and things on this week. I don't go into specifics with any of this because this is a game of cat and mouse with the hacker groups and everything like that. So we don't go into specifics, but I am happy to say, and I can say with confidence, that we are improving pretty much every week. And we did make a nice big step forward this week. And hopefully you notice that as you're playing in the servers. Hopefully you see more people getting banned. Hopefully you just see less hackers overall, because this is a huge fucking problem with the game. And unfortunately, EAC has not made significant improvements. So we're working with our own third party stuff. We're making improvements as much as we can. And we're doing stuff in house so that at least the Rustified servers can be a place where you can avoid hackers, where hackers get caught as soon as possible and they don't fuck up your gameplay. And as always, if you see a hacker or suspect a hacker in our servers, you can use the /report functionality in game. You can also join our Discord and do /report. And I'm happy to say also, we've got a new reporting system going live. It should be live by the end of the month. And this is instead of a Discord thing, and you'll still be able to do the in game stuff and everything. But this will be a website where you can actually click through, you sign in through Steam, it'll automatically show the server you were just playing on. It'll automatically list out the players that just killed you. You can report more than one person, so you can report a team. You can easily put in evidence and link to videos and pictures and all this stuff. And then once you got a report in, there's a chat functionality where you can chat back and forth with the moderator who's handling the report. So we've really recoded our whole report system and really streamlined it and optimized it with the player in mind, so that you can not only put a report in, but then you can track the status of it, communicate more evidence as it might come in, and really know that your report's being handled. And so I'm excited to have that go live. Once again, that should be live by the end of the month. But yeah, that's a little bit about what's going on with hackers.
Someone was just asking, does /report work on streamer mode?
Uh, yeah, /report should work on streamer mode, but you gotta still get their Steam ID. So, and you might want to just, I do recommend you just report in our Discord, because then you can more easily get the report ID, and then you can follow up and be like, hey, I put in this report with this report ID, can someone look into it? I mean, we do of course have our moderators that go through the report feed and triage all that stuff as it comes in, but having that report ID can be a good way to get a status update. And then this is all of course just as it is now. Once we launch in the next week or so the new reporting website, it should be a lot easier to track this stuff, and I'll recommend you just go to the website.
Someone just joined in and said, hey, I just joined. Is the update live yet?
No update today, just an update preview stream. Also, with the person saying streamer mode, I do want to encourage, if you are a streamer and you stream Rust, we do have a partnership program for Rustified. Go to rustified.com/streamer, fill out the application, and we got some cool stuff, including queue skips and stuff like that for active streamers in the Rust community who are playing on Rustified. So just a little invite to check that out.
Yes. I think that's it, Bugs.
Beautiful. Well, we are going to play this Charitable Rust trailer so you can get a sense for what that game mode server is going to be, that game server, the event server for the weekend of. But really mark your calendars, October 14th and 15th. We're supporting Charity Water, an amazing organization this year. There's going to be skins on the item store, the proceeds of which go towards this amazing cause. We're going to have a Tiltified campaign. We got prizes on the weekend of. We got other orgs doing other events. It's going to be a great time. So just plan on being around October 14th and 15th, less than a month from now. A huge thank you once again to everyone for tuning in. Thank you for the bits, the subs, and to our beautiful, wonderful, loyal VIP customers. Thank you guys. And also Artemis, Miss D, thanks for being my co-MCs as always.
You're welcome, as always.
Yeah, you're welcome as always.
And with that, we will be back same time, same place next week, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. And check out Rustafied.com and Rustafied on X for news throughout the week. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful wipe and a wonderful week. Oh, I said that backwards this week. Holy shit. I wonder, that's like my sign off tag, and I said it fucking backwards. Holy shit. I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs signing off. And here's the Charitable Rust trailer for your viewing pleasure. Love you guys. Catch you later. Bye.